Don't speak what you don't understand. The truth is not in your command. Don't shout about what you think is fake. The decision isn't yours to make. Don't lie about the way things are. Tall tales will take you very far. Don't scoff when they say it's the end. In this life, you know you.
Hey everyone, happy Friday. It is just after 5 on January 23rd. And we're going to do our regular Friday Night Live as well today. And then we're also going to take some questions and answers from the Sanitation folks because their prescription drug plan, the Medicare eligible retirees, also had their drug plan change. So if you were familiar over the last year, many retirees who were in CWA 1180, Sanitation, as well as Local 237 had been complaining to us that what we were educating you to, that the Medicare drug plans were supposed to provide. That we found that many retirees in Medicare who had a union-based drug plan were not getting the benefits that we were telling you were entitled to under a Part D drug plan. And many of the unions have been misrepresenting to you what that means, whether that plan, if it's a creditable plan, that means that you were on a drug plan that's provided by, let's say, your former union or your former employer. And that drug plan is supposed to provide benefits like a Medicare Part D plan. And let's say for whatever reason that plan wasn't working for you, then if you chose to go to a Medicare Part D drug plan on the marketplace, what that means is that if you made that transition to a marketplace Part D plan, you would not sustain a Medicare penalty for joining the Medicare Part D drug plan late. Because if you don't join a Part D plan or the A or B plan when you're supposed to, you will pay a penalty for the rest of your life. And that does not go away. So what we learned from many retirees who were in CWA 237 and Sanitation was that their plan wasn't providing things that we had said that they should. For example, like last year with the Inflation Reduction Act, that there should have been a $2,000 maximum out-of-pocket maximum, or what they call a MOOP, maximum out-of-pocket. That was $2,000 last year. This year, it's $2,100. So when also supposed to cover vaccinations that Medicare Part D pays for. Some of the plans also offered a low maximum benefit, like $9,000, $10,000, $12,000, $15,000, $20,000. That's not what a Part D drug plan is supposed to provide. And so how does a union get to say that they have a creditable plan? They basically fill out a form and send it to Medicare and saying, we're creditable. Well, after several of you had been pressuring us last year, we started to pressure OLR that they needed to look into this because OLR wasn't letting retirees join the city drug plan because their unions offered a plan. And we kept saying to them, this is not a creditable Part D plan. And so with pressuring them with Sanitation 237 and CWA 1180, we learned that those plans, now OLR did not want to admit to us, and neither did the unions, because many of you remember I called CWA with you. They did not want to admit that their plan was not a creditable Part D. However, miraculously, this year, all three unions created a Part D drug plan. So yes, I will still take that as a win, because even though they didn't want to admit it, they still ended up supporting what we had said, that there needs to be a Part D plan in place. So Before I get into the sanitation Part D plan today, I also want to tell you, I had asked all of you to save on your calendars March 17th. We had to move that up because there is definitely a conflict with what we wanted to do because it's St. Patrick's Day. So what I'd like to ask you to do is now block your calendar for March 24th. You will be with me all day from morning until early evening or just evening. So from 8 to 8 or 7 to 7, 7 to 7 to say 7 to 7. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you, I actually forgot to set this up, but after the show, I will go and set up a sign up sheet and post it on our pages. We are going to Albany to do a press conference to introduce our bill. And I want all of you to come with me. We are booking 2 buses. Remember last time we went in 2024, we took about 100, actually we took about 200 of you up to Albany. This year, we'll take 2 buses. We'll provide you with lunch and dinner. You need to be at City Hall by no later than 7:30 because that bus is leaving at 8 a.m. We have to get up to Albany for noon, and we will have a press conference up there. So March 24th. And then I really need you to commit to coming because we will also be training you how to do our lobbying to introduce the legislators who you are and why we want them to support this bill. So you will be able to go into small groups and take a lobby day. So that will be your day is the 24th of March. So we will be leaving City Hall, 250 Broadway, about 7:45, 8 o'clock in the morning on the 24th, which is a Tuesday. And we will be leaving Albany about 3:15. And so you guys will probably get on the bus and we'll head back down to City Hall. We'll probably get there about 7:30-ish in the evening. And always account, we could be a little early, a little late, depending on traffic and weather, okay? But make sure you dress warm. You can bring a blanket. Your stuff can stay on the bus. Remember, we are booking a regular like Academy buses. So you'll have, there'll be a restroom on the bus, etc. Yes, I'll also need team captains, bus captains to help us out. And we will be doing signs and t-shirts and stuff again. So all that stuff that we did the last time we went to Albany, we're doing it again. So please reserve March 24th. All day, you will be with me. And then I have more work to do after that. So that is the new date. Scratch off the 17th. We figured it was just going to be too much to juggle on St. Patrick's Day. We moved it 1 week up. Also, Michelle wasn't going to be available, and I really need Michelle to help with this. So Michelle Keller will now be able to join us, and it will be on the 24th. Let's see. Inez, my pharmacy Health Mart is listed as a pharmacy in Prime Therapeutic. They seem to be knocked out for some reason. The owner of the pharmacy is trying to get back on. They say they're working with him, but this has been going on for 2 weeks. So Inez, if you could do me a favor, please, and email me all the details with the phone number and the address of the pharmacy and the name, please. And email it to us at nycretirees.org, retirees at nycretirees.org. Please send it to my email and I will address that for you. Yes, Laura, team captains. Thank you. Okay, you too, John, you be safe. So that's the first news. And then after tonight's show, and I have another show to do, another live to do with the sanitation workers at 7. So if I don't get it to right away by tomorrow, that link will be there to sign up. Please make sure if you are committing to coming, you actually do show up, because there have been people that signed up to come and canceled on us, didn't show up, didn't answer our calls, or canceled on the last minute. We need to fill 2 full buses, which means each bus holds 50 people. I need 100 people to come. So if you're not going to come with us, then you definitely need to let us know this time, or this time I'm banning those people from joining us ever. So do us a favor, please. If you're signing up to come, commit to coming. And we will also be holding a prep class so that you guys know what to do when we get there. That way in advance, you'll have better information this time going forward on where we're going to go, where to meet us, where we'll be picking you up, where we'll be dropping you off, where to meet the bus at the end, and then what to do once you're there. Okay. So that's what I have about that. Let me see if there's any questions in the chat before I move on. Nope. Okay, let me take a quick check over on Instagram. Nope. Okay, good. All right, let's start talking. If there's sanitation people here, let's give me a thumbs up if you are sanitation. Yes, you can drive from PA, Stephen. You don't have to take the bus, but you still have to register so I know who's coming and where to tell you to meet. So give me some thumbs up if you're sanitation watching. Okay, so there's a few of you here. All right, so let's start talking about that plan. Let me see if I could pull in a document so I could start to walk you through it, because you got documents in the mail that thank you, yay. All right, so some of you are here on YouTube as well. All right, let's see. I want to pull up that file, and I'm going to run through the document you should have received in the mail, the one that explains your drug plan, and I'm going to explain it to you while it's loading on my system. So there's a misconception that your plan has a $2,100 deductible. It's not a $2,100 deductible. Yes, $831. Is there a different plan for 444? Did they have their plan also change? Does anyone know? This is for 831 sanitation workers. Okay. So far, I don't see any responses to that. Be there or be square. Yes. Okay. So, yeah, Stephen. So does your 444 or 831? Any idea? You're 444. So, Stephen, I don't have drug plan. If you're 444, 444, I do not have documents for your plan. I have documents for 831. Yes, I'm aware that they're supervisors. Did their drug plan change as well? Does anyone know? No answer. No answer. It did. Okay. So between now and 7, if you got documents in the mail for 444 and the plan is not the same that's in 831, please send me that file, because that I can go over. Tonight, I'm doing the plan that came from 831 because that's the only plan I have documents on. So if you do have something from their drug plan, let me know. Is it a specific union plan? Does 444, did 444 and your COBA? And so the COBA people are on the city drug plan. Is 444 on the city drug plan or a union drug plan? That's the easier question. If you know. Stephen, I'll wait for you to answer that, because if it's a union plan, 444 doesn't have a drug plan. So that means you're getting the plan from the city. Okay. So if 444 is on the city drug plan, we can answer those questions. If you are telling me that 444 has a union drug plan, which Pasta Fagioli over here is telling me we don't have a drug plan, that means you're on the city plan. And if that's accurate, then Stephen, please feel free to I need to know Medicare, pre-Medicare, and then that means you're on the city plan. Okay. So let's talk about the sanitation plan. Let me see why this will not load. Let's see if it'll let me do a share screen. Maybe that'll be easier because it's definitely not wanting to share. Oh, here we go. Okay. Maybe it'll like that. Okay. Let's pull that in. Okay, now let's see if I can make this bigger. Not that big. Okay, and come back to you. Nope, hold on a second. I gotta make it a little smaller. It's like eating my screen. Okay, so this is the 831 plan documents that were sent to me. And then I'm going to walk through some of this with you. It's only a couple of pages, okay? So this explains that the documents that were sent to you in this packet contains your evidence of coverage. So when you hear me talking about EOC, that's where this is coming from. The provider directory, the formulary, the pharmacy directory. So it also tells you to go to emblemhealth.com/Medicare so that you can get copies of those documents, as well as creating your own plan, your own account on the Emblem portal, my.emblemhealth.com. And so we've encouraged you guys to do that because it will definitely help you access your account and everything. So it says that the portal makes it easy to see your documents and everything else. It tells you their call center time. So you should have this document because they did send it to you, that they're available to talk to them from 8 to 8. You can talk to them Monday through Saturday. You can also let us know if you're having a problem because we will, of course, be glad to help you out with doing that. So this is where it also said to you to register your plan. Your pharmacy benefit manager is Prime Therapeutics. Well, if you remember, when you hear us talking about what is a pharmacy benefit manager, we kind of make a joke about this and say this is like your drug dealer. They're the ones that they buy the drugs from the manufacturers, and they make the deal between the retail pharmacies on how much to sell that drug to you for and what drugs they're going to carry. So now the plan, because you're on the Emblem plan, Emblem's plan, this is not the city plan, mind you, this is for sanitation. You have your own union drug plan that's handled through Emblem using Prime as well. And Prime Therapeutics will work together to manage your drugs, that you have to bring your new card to your doctor and your pharmacy so that you can get your medications. And they're also letting you use Amazon Pharmacy for home delivery. You still, because your Emblem, can still use Express Scripts, but you can also use Amazon Pharmacy. And no, you don't need to have an Amazon Prime account to get your medications delivered. But let me warn you, using Amazon for delivery, your packages will be delivered, your drugs will be delivered like Amazon delivers packages. And if you're in a building, they get tossed where on the lobby or wherever your building allows the delivery driver to put your packages. It does not just get brought to your door, and it does not go in your mailbox. So if you want that, then you have to go through Express Scripts or you go to a retail. So that's that page. Now, it tells you here that you don't have a premium. This is offered through your local 831 Sanitation Union, that you do not have a premium on your plan. It also tells you that this is considered a creditable Part D drug plan, so that even if you choose that for whatever reason you don't like this plan and you wanted to go into Medicare Part D, buy a plan on the marketplace, you will not sustain a penalty, but you did have to either be in this plan or the Medicare plan. Let's see. If you do want to change plans, it tells you when the open enrollment is to do that. If you don't want to be on your union plan anymore, most of you won't, that won't pertain to you. What is extra help? So for those of you that may be a lower income Medicare eligible retiree, there's extra help to help pay for some medications where the cost might be high, the copay might be high. You would then contact the phone number that's listed here, for that. If by chance you also happen to have an outside drug plan, let's say you purchased one because maybe your union plan wasn't working for you, you can't have two. You can only have one drug plan, and that's what this next part talks about. Now, this here starts to get into the nitty-gritty of your plan. And this says that your union president, Dennis Shook, had wrote to you back in December to tell you about this new drug plan that they were offering, okay? That for the first time that they will be providing retirees with a catastrophic coverage, but that's a Medicare benefit, not a union benefit, just so you know. That is the design of Medicare Part D. There's a $0 cost share after your $2,100 out-of-pocket maximum, okay? And so what does that mean? That means as after your copays have hit $2,100, you no longer have a co-share, no copays for medications, okay? That's what that means. And if you remember, and they do say to you here, the current drug plan benefit capped at $44,000 will phase out December 31. That was the old plan that you had. This plan doesn't have that kind of a cap to it. It says, why is this changing? And because they recognize that the plan that they were offering wasn't really a good Part D plan and wasn't covering a lot of things that Medicare eligible retirees needed. So this plan does follow the federal guideline. It is a federal Medicare Part D creditable plan. It does provide the benefits. And you see here, it says the new local 831 Part D plan allows us to cover all required Medicare Part D medications, Part D vaccines, and provide all Medicare retirees and dependents that catastrophic coverage, ensuring that they will never pay more than $2,100 per person out of pocket for this calendar year. The plan does increase the deductible and cost sharing, but those dollars will count towards your $2,100 maximum, which afterwards you would pay just $0 for your medications. Now, for some of you, that is also a concern because that you are paying a higher copay and you are paying a deductible, which he has further down in here. He does stress that if you are an active worker or pre-Medicare retiree, your benefits are not changing. This is only for your Medicare retirees. His plan highlights, it says that the plan is fully funded by the Retirees Fund and it continues to be at no premium to you. So there's no cost monthly as a premium for you on this plan. There are no more annual benefit limits, meaning this is not capped after you hit a certain dollar amount. That everyone, once you've hit that $2,100 maximum out of pocket, those are your copays, including your deductible, which you have on this plan, you will no longer pay anything after that. And it does explain that covered medications, deductibles, copays, all of that would count towards your $2,100. That they're now covering Part D vaccines. And that was the first red flag for us when you guys called us. We got another call. We called another union today on this. They're saying that they're covered, but they're not. Your plan finally models after a Part D. Insulin is capped at $35 per enrollee per month. That is huge. Non-Part D drugs like vitamins, cough medicines, and others are now covered. No more applying for board approval for expensive medications. Prescriptions for all covered medications will be processed in the normal course. And of course, Emblem Health will continue to administer this new benefit. Now, plan design, $615 individual deductible. And this is standard on all Medicare Part D, typical Part D plans on the marketplace. The deductible does not apply to insulins and most adult Part D vaccines, including shingles, tetanus, and some vaccines for travel. The deductible counts towards the $2,100 maximum out of pocket. And what does that mean? That means as you're paying those copays and you're hitting that $615, that $615 is applied to your $2,100 maximum out of pocket. Okay. Let me take a quick check here at the chat. Winnie, I have not gone through the Teamsters plan, but the Teamsters plan appears to model after this because it's Silver Script. CSA, Medicare retiree, if we just use senior care as Medigap in a marketplace drug plan, is there a monthly charge just for Emblem Medigap? Is there a monthly charge just for the Emblem Medigap besides the $50 deductible? No. So you have to make sure that if you are on a drug plan on the marketplace, you do not have, there are no other charges unless you want the 365-day optional hospitalization rider through the city. So you don't have to worry about that. And you have to make sure that OLR takes that, off of your charge. They're not charging you anymore. No, we did talk about DEA. That's something we are still currently working on. So there's going to be more coming from them, but I need at least another week to 2 weeks about that. Okay. All right, let's go back to, let me take a quick peek at Instagram. Do I have any questions on Instagram? Nope. Okay, let's go back to this document then. So $0 cost share in catastrophic stage. That means once you've hit that $2,100 limit, there are no more copays to you. The rest of your year is cost free. Okay. Part D excluded drugs, including vitamins, cough and cold remedies, and others are now covered. And these Part D drugs do not count towards the $2,100 limit. Okay, so that is not included in your cap. All Part D plans are creditable coverage. Say hallelujah, because this is huge. I know some of you is freaked out about the $2,100, but please don't. That's actually a built-in protection, and it's not from the union that did this. It's the Federal Inflation Reduction Act that was passed under the Biden administration to make sure you never paid more than that for the year, okay? Let's see. And then their FAQs. So they're explaining your last plan is ending. You should already have your ID cards, which I know many of you already have. That's not an issue. We already talked about that. Here are your copays. Tier 1 generic, $5 for a 30-day supply. Most generics on the formulary are included in this tier. So it is a generic-based plan. Most union plans are. The Tier 2 is a preferred. You will pay 25% for a Tier 2, Tier 3, or Tier 4 drug. And it explains what the differences are, is this contains a combination of preferred brands and certain generics that are higher priced. Tier 3 is your higher cost drugs, includes non-preferred generic and brand drugs. And then Tier 4 specialty drugs are generally the highest cost prescription drugs, may require special handling or maybe brand or generic. And the rest of this is basically what we explained. It says, are my prescriptions covered? Most likely, yes. The new Local 3831 Part D formulary is broader than the prior plan, includes all required Part D plans, as well as certain non-Part D drugs, including vitamins, cough, cold remedies, and others. And if you need specific help, here's the number to call Emblem. And they are hours of operation. They say 8 to 8, 7 days a week. Yes, you can go to the retail pharmacy. You do need to look and see which ones would be in your network. Beginning January 1st, all of the plans administered by Emblem will be operated by Prime. Prime is accepted at all the major pharmacy chains like CVS and Walgreens, as well as many other smaller pharmacies. You do not need new prescriptions for retail pharmacy refills. Just make sure that you share your new card with them, and that much of that should have just ported over. Yes, there is a mail order. This does explain to you that you can keep your existing mail order prescriptions with ESI, Express Scripts, or you can use Amazon home delivery, and it does not require Amazon Prime. So this is very much like, you can see the plan that we've been talking about with the city of New York, the ones that they have had for the Medicare retirees for the city. Is there a specialty mail order? It says yes. They have a large network of pharmacies, including Walgreens Specialty, Accredo, and others. And if you guys end up finding you're having problems with that plan, let us know. If you're first, reach out to your union's welfare fund, because this is a union plan. And if you're having trouble with your union welfare fund, then reach out to us. But you really do need to go to them, because they need to know what problems you're having. I can't fix everything for everybody. If this is a problem that's based on this union plan, then they absolutely need to fix it. This does tell you that you can opt out, but honestly, you're getting the basic plan that you would get on the marketplace at no premium, and the costs are basically the same. So it really pays for you to stay in this plan. Are there programs that can help me reduce prescription your drug cost? It says yes. There are programs including Extra Help, Medicare Savings Programs, state pharmaceutical programs to help you offset those costs. Is a Medicare prescription payment plan available to me? And this is for people who may have, like, they'll probably hit this $2,100 by like March, because their drugs are so expensive. And then your copay could be like $400 or $600. You might not be able to pay that in one lump sum. The Medicare prescription payment plan is an option that's available to you when you enroll in this new plan, and it can help you manage your out-of-pocket drugs covered by your Part D plan by spreading them across your calendar year. It does not reduce your costs. It just spreads out your payments so that you can pay them over time. So that explains this. This is the local 831 drug plan. So if you guys had any questions, I just want to take a quick scroll back up to see what we have here. 831 is a POS plan because they refuse to cover my cancer medication. Thank God that Walgreens. Okay, so what I want to tell you about that is it's not a piece of shit plan. I'm being totally honest with you. They're not covering your cancer medication because it's extremely expensive. And the plan most likely can't afford to cover that. However, I'm glad that it's being covered by Walgreens. That's one. Two, there's also an appeal process that you can go through, or an exception process that you and your doctor can go through to try to get that drug covered. That you are able to do, okay? I can't guarantee you that they'll approve it, but there is a process for you to get an exception to the formulary that hopefully they would consider covering that drug, okay? So consider that. But you seem to have figured this part out. Understand that not every drug is going to be covered on every plan, not even on the marketplace, and not even in the City of New York plan. But I'm going to tell you, this plan is better than what you had. And I know many of you don't believe that, but honestly, I'm telling you, you have better coverage with this plan than you had before. It was too late to sign up for another plan. I know you didn't. Absolutely. And I absolutely know that. And I don't know which plan you're talking about, whether it's this one or the DEA plan. However, I'm fully aware of that, which is why there are appeals processes, and there's also exception processes that you can go go through to try to get something that is not in their formulary covered by their formulary. They did it on purpose. I've said the same thing. I didn't receive anything until December 16th. And Stephen, I was not happy about that. I literally was debating with another union's welfare fund today that they're rolling this plan out in February, and yet these people still don't have this plan, and they could have got a plan in November, December in open enrollment. This is what tells me that they don't understand retiree benefits. And this is a shame, but you guys have an advocate now. We've been fighting this for the last year. We now know that we need to be more vigilant on the retiree medical drug plan issues that are offered by the unions, because they need to do something, that they're not misleading you, that they're encouraging you to join this plan, and then the plan doesn't work for you. And that's a waste, right? NYCHA Local 237 Teamsters paid $700 for 1 month, and they said it as a courtesy, and they will not fill it anymore. And so, John, your plan is a Aetna Silver Script CVS drug plan, and they determine that formulary. So what you need to do is, if they will not allow an exception, you need to see if there's a plan, if there's a program that would help you pay for your medications, or do you need to go through like a Cost Plus or RX that you don't run it through insurance whatsoever, and you go act like it's a cash pay to see you have the prescription, to see if there's another way to get that medication, even if you call the manufacturer with a rebate, if they're able to help you secure it. Okay. And that's what those programs that I mentioned, even in the 831 plan, are for. So you need to call the welfare fund or even SilverScript to see how they can guide you in how to get that drug covered if there's not another drug you can go on. According to DEA, they mailed out the ID cards and brochures. Yes, they told us that the same thing today. So whenever that plan comes in, I need someone to send me the full plan of whatever you're getting in the mail, because that's literally a really great retiree from Sanitation, 831, sent me those documents you saw. I just chopped off their name to preserve their privacy and shared with you what we were given. And that's how I can tell you that they are in a legitimate Part D plan, because their plan follows the federal guidelines of what a Medicare Part D plan should provide. I can't tell you that that is for anybody else, especially the DEA, because I don't have their documents yet. But what their welfare fund told me today on the telephone, I'm not happy with. I'm not happy with at all. The same red flags we had when we were talking about 237 and we were talking about CWA. Okay. Let's quit the games and make Marianne our OLR commissioner. So honestly, John, if you want to do that, you're going to have to lobby Mamdani, because he's probably still listening to Bob Lynn, who screwed everybody, who's basically now working, I think, with Dean Fulihan. Wouldn't be surprised if Mulgrew and Garrido try to take credit for the prescription cap implemented. I know. They seem to always want to take credit for everything. Just got to change a few days ago, though it was post-dated December 16th. Yeah. My meds from January to January 190. So, George, I have been arguing with you for months on this issue. It is not that you have to pay $2,100 out of pocket. If your drugs are $190, you would have paid the $190 whether you had the cap of $2,100 or not. Your drugs are still your drugs. God bless you that you're only paying $190 for the year, because could be a chance when something bad happens to you and your drugs can cost more. But you will pay that little copay on whatever those drugs are that you're taking for 12 months that only cost you $190. You don't have to pay $2,100. What that $2,100 is, for the millionth time, George, read my lips, it is a cap. It is the maximum that you will ever pay in a 12-month period. And if you hit that cap of $2,100, you will pay no more. I have been saying this to you for like months. This is not a bad thing. This is a stopgap. It's a ceiling. This says once you hit the ceiling, you will pay nothing. That is a freaking godsend. Trust me when I'm telling you this. You're not being penalized. You don't have to pay $2,100. If your drugs only cost $190, hallelujah, that's your only cost. Yay! George, stop getting crazy. Mary Ann, is this the only Medicare? Is this only for Medicare or pre-Medicare? I'm still not 100%, but I'm DC 37 pre-Medicare. Okay, so Mary Ann Berto, what I was just talking about is a sanitation union's drug plan. Sanitation union, that didn't pertain to you. You are DC 37, you get your drugs through DC 37. You do not get your drugs from the city. You do not get your drugs from sanitation. This does not affect you. Today's little presentation right here was for the people who are in our page, who follow our organization, who were sanitation local 831. Okay. Your plan, pre-Medicare, you are still with DC-37, and Medicare retirees are still DC-37. Okay? Totally different. But we had so many sanitation workers say, hey, could you help? We said, sure, send me the plan documents, and we did. So many unions with drug plans alleged their drug plans were creditable plans, even though they were pretty clear that they weren't. What changed? Perhaps questions from Marianne. And that's what I said today, like to two different people. Absolutely, because we had all of you asking us questions when we started to look into it on top of everything else we were doing. They were like, wait, why are you asking that? I was like, well, why don't you answer the question? Is the plan creditable? Why aren't you covering this? So it made more sense. What happens if there are drugs I must take that they don't cover? So Jane, if you were on the 831 plan, all you have to do is ask for an exception or an appeal. And if it's that you must take, meaning there isn't an alternative drug in the formulary that you could try that might work or be less expensive or is covered, you need to do an appeal process to see if they will make an exception for you. And then I will tell you, though, if you choose to take the non-covered drug, the non-covered drug cost does not apply to the $2,100 maximum out of pocket, which is why they want to keep you in the formulary. I did that 4 times, and Johnson & Johnson, another pharmaceutical company, refused to pay for it. And at that point, I don't know what else to tell you. So if they're not going to help you pay for that, then you need to find another prescription benefit plan like Cost Plus or something that might offer it to you for less. I honestly don't know what else you could do. You definitely need to ask the pharmacy if they're aware of what plans are available near you. The link for donations is literally scrolling right at the bottom of my screen. See that? Donate to nycretirees.org. See that at the bottom? You can make a donation and sign up for our emails and right down there. Okay. Last year, we only had a $550 out of pocket for the year. Now, for 1 month, it's costing $1,400. But Anne, you were on a plan, if you were 831, that is crap. And it didn't offer, it wasn't the plan you had before wasn't covering the things it should have covered. It wasn't covering your vaccinations. It wasn't covering preventative care. It wasn't covering the things that Medicare requires it to cover. And maybe while you were lucky that you only had a $550 maximum out of pocket, you were on a true Medicare Part D drug plan. So I understand what you're saying, but you're not recognizing the benefit that you have with the plan that you have now. You have more drugs in your plan. You have more services, more vaccinations, more things covered than you had before. And while you might not be using all of those things, you probably should be taking advantage of some of them because you didn't have access to them before. And now for 1 month, the drug is costing you $1,400. I'm going to tell you again, if you're 831, you have that program to help you spread those copays across 12 months to make it more affordable to you. That's still a benefit to you. And then after you hit the $2,100, you pay nothing. And if your only 1 month is $1,400, well, guess what? The rest of your year, there is nothing for you after you hit that $2,100. I understand it's a change, but you really are on the better drug plan at this point. Is that with all unions prescription drug plan? When you are on Medicare, it's better to pick up the Medicare drug plan. So Marianne, you in DC-37, you have a Medicare Part D drug plan when you're eligible for Medicare. And that's only when you're Medicare eligible, and DC-37 gives it to you through Aetna Silver Script. Our copays last year only amounted to $550. No, and it will not cost you $2,100. If your copays this year, if you take the same amount of drugs last year and you take the same amount of drugs this year, the cost should probably be about the same. It's not going to cost you $2,100. You're not understanding that plan. You will only pay what the copay is for your drug. If you're taking on 831 a $5 generic drug, then you're only paying that $5. You're not paying $2,100. The $2,100 is a ceiling that will ever come out of your wallet. And you need to look at it that way. That is not telling you you have to pay $2,100. That's not what it is. You have to understand that. And if your drug costs more, please email me at the organization. I need the name of the drug, the dosage, and I need to see proof of what you paid for it last year, and I need to see proof of what you're charged this year. And if you're telling me that drug last year was cheaper and this year it's $1,400 for 1 month, I need to see that. And confirm with me that you're in the 831 plan. And if you are, I will take that directly to the PBM. But give me something to argue that with. Don't just tell me that, okay? Right, and you were covered to $44,000 a year. This year, there is no $44,000. There is no ceiling on the maximum. You still have a better plan. Before, they limited you at $44,000. Now there is no limit. You are truly on a Medicare Part D plan. The 831 plan is very similar to the plan UFT-CSA. Yes, it is very similar to the city plan, except they're charging the city people $180 a month for the same thing. Kerry, spot on. They don't know how good they have it. CSA retiree, if for 2027, CSA Medicare retiree, if for 2027 I switch from the city drug plan to the marketplace plan and then later decide I want to go back, yes, you can come back to the city plan. Absolutely. Now, remember, I did a video on the Medicare marketplace drug plans, right? So how now it's open enrollment's closed for the drug plans December 7th. So you cannot go back. You can't do that until next year. But this is why we were arguing with the city to give you transparency, because on the marketplace, you could put in your zip code and it'll tell you all the pharmacies that are near you. You can list every one of your drugs and your dosages, and it'll tell you if there's what plans are available to you in your zip code. And it will also tell you what the drug cost is monthly and for the whole year. The city wouldn't do that. So now you would know, like many of you took a WellCare plan that had like a $0 premium or a $35 premium a month. And then it told you what the drug would cost if you went to Walgreens or if you went to CVS or if you went to wherever. You didn't have that with the city. And you, with a blind faith, you took the path of least resistance. You just said, hell with it, I'll pay the $180 a month. And now you're finding that maybe your drug isn't covered, or maybe your local pharmacy is not covered, or the cost is, initial cost is a little crazy. This is why I'm saying to you, you didn't have transparency. And we asked the UFT to help us fight this, and they chose not to. This is why I don't understand why retirees stay, whatever quasi-affiliation you want to take with the UFT, they're not advocating for you. I literally had a retiree that said to me yesterday, I've been asking the UFT Welfare Fund to help me out, and I have this issue with my drugs, and they haven't helped me. And I said, send it to me. I'll get you an answer in my Friday or Monday. And sure enough, today they got a phone call, and they were like, did you do that? I said, yeah. You want me to tell you what the pharmacist said? Let me tell you what he said. We advocate for our retirees. This is why retirees should be joining our organization. We now have these relationships. If the union is too overburdened because they're dealing with active workers and they don't understand the freaking retiree drug plan that is administered by the city of New York and not them, they're not going to give a shit. And you're not a priority to you. The union welfare fund people who pay them dues, who are active union members in their bargaining unit, that's what they care about. The unions are not, they'll care, but not to the extent of whatever. So yes, we were able to help get you a faster answer than their former union was. I haven't received any documents 444 about the new plan. Also, nothing is listed on their website. So Stephen, remind me again, Medicare or pre-Medicare? And if you don't, someone else posted before, 444 does not have a union drug plan, which means you're using the city's drug plan. Confirm that for me, please, because I don't remember. I just joined. You still need docs for 831. No, I do not. I just did Victoria a little presentation to that, which I will do again tonight at 7 in the DSNY financial page. Our deductible was only $200 last year. And you're still not computing. You're not computing. This is not making any sense to you. Please email me the information in an email to the org, and I'm going to lay it out to you exactly why what you have now is better than what you had last year. Even if your deductible was $200, you had a shitty ass plan that didn't cover things it should have covered. Now you have a federal standard plan that provides you a vast network of pharmacies, a vast network of formularies. Yes, you have a $615 deductible. You have no maximum benefit, and you have a $2,100 maximum out-of-pocket spend, which means once you've hit that $2,100, you will never pay a dime again for the rest of the year. Barbara girl, I'm losing it at this point. Sanitation Local 444 has been doing this since last year. It's better than the old plan. Okay, so then Anne-Marie, you're telling me that 444 went to a very similar plan. I'm glad to hear it, because you truly do have the better benefit. I'm not going to sit here and argue with you that you want your old shitty ass plan back. That is ridiculous. You had a maximum benefit. They wouldn't pay more than $44,000 from you. They didn't have a wide formulary, and they didn't have a wide retail outlet. That's ridiculous. Thanks for helping them and educating me. You're welcome. Is there a plan for union plans such as 831 to absorb PICA because the city wants to transfer responsibility to the union plan? So, Joseph, this is like a whole show all on its own. The city wants the unions to absorb PICA. Do you know why, sweetheart? Because the unions in the Municipal Labor Committee, especially the top 5, they destroyed the stabilization fund, which funded PICA. PICA is a drug plan for specialty medications, usually cancer and injectables, and was funded by the stabilization fund, which the comptroller released a report on December 30th about how it has been misused by the Municipal Labor Committee, which unfortunately Local 831 was party to. Thank you, Harry Nispoli, Michael Mulgrew, DC 37's Henry Garrido, CWA 1180 Gloria Middleton, 237 Greg Floyd. Thank you, because they're the ones that made those deals. So I would say right now PICA stands, and PICA goes through Express Scripts, and the unions should find a way to get their own asses out of trouble because they're the ones that made this deal and tried to screw retirees to create a funding stream to do it. So I'm not really sympathetic to that. Oh my God. And I'm not even going to answer that question. For municipal retirees to drop their city emblem health optional drug rider and keep their 365 hospital rider, we faced ambiguous forms, untrained OLR and emblem reps, violations in how emblem did not display their drug prices, and harrowing deadlines, including major holidays. Sweetheart, you were with me throughout that whole argument. I mean, some of the shit that we had to deal with was absolutely insane, but we got through it. Why don't people understand? Because they don't want to. Manjaro was free and now it's $13.99. Sweetheart, Manjaro won't be free for anybody. Manjaro is one of the more expensive medications. And if you're not diabetic, it won't be covered by any plan. So if you are diabetic, requires prior authorization, it will be covered. If you're not diabetic, it won't be covered. And that is across the board. You were lucky that it was covered when it was, but it's not going to be covered anymore that way. Again, you're still not right. The link someone sent me to make donations was not a link I could click on. It was too much for me to remember. Oh, so Lorraine, hold on a second. I will put it in the chat. You're appearing on Facebook. www.nycretirees.org. Do you see the scroll at the bottom? That is our website. Just go to our website. You can make the donation right off our website. There'll be a little box that says donate now. There. Yeah. You could remember that. NYCretirees.org. NYCretirees.org. Okay. Oh my God. Anne. Okay, I got it. I'm 831. Yes, George. Yeah, I'm going to I hear angels singing somewhere. Yes, it is a maximum. It is the most that will ever leave your wallet in 12 months. If you don't spend $2,100, it's not a problem. You're just spending your $5 a month. That's all you got. That's it. That's what I've been trying to tell you for like, I don't know, 4 months. Large drug producers have in-house programs to help with costs. Qualifications vary, but they do exist. Go to the drug manufacturer sites and see what's possible. Some TV ads also mention help available. Absolutely. Oh my God. So is Farziga was free next year. Now it's over 500. Sweethearts, you're not listening to me. Still, your plan was a problem plan. Your drug formularies were bankrupting because of drugs that were covered under the wrong benchmarks. You have to make sure that a drug, if you were to give everyone that wanted to take Ozempic, for example, which is a very expensive medication just because they wanted to lose weight or, whatever, and they're not diabetic, which that medication is on label for diabetes, you would bankrupt your plan. So they all came up with the rule across the board. They needed to put in bench guidelines or you would not have a plan, my dear. And so the rule is, if it's labeled for diabetes, it will be covered for diabetes. If you're not diabetic, it's not covered. Next, tell me you're not diabetic or you are, because that would make more sense. I'm a DC-37 retiree and I pay $25 a month for Mounjaro. And I'm assuming, Barbara, you're probably diabetic. I wish I weren't so spot on. I know you're local 831. I absolutely know. I know, because you should not be complaining, and you are. So if you have any further issues, email me. I want all the details. Tell me where your drugs were cheaper last year and tell me what you're paying now. And I also want to know whether you're diabetic or not diabetic, because that also explains why your costs went up. The formulary requires, and this is why your plan had to change. It was bankrupting the union because they covered freely things that they should not have been covering, and they weren't covering things that they had to by law. Now you can still get that drug. Your maximum out of pocket, the most that will ever leave your wallet in 12 months is $2,100, and you're free to get whatever it is that you want. However, if the drug that you want, let's say you're not diabetic and you want that Mounjaro, it's not going to be covered under your cap because it's not in the formulary for you. This is what we have to keep saying. This is the conversation. You really need to have a phone call with Emblem Health. So you need to email me all your details and I'll get someone to call you if you're still confused. Can't the UFT Welfare Fund answer medical? Sure, they should. CSA retiree, Mounjaro, $730 for 3 months, was $330 before Prime. Yes, again, changes happen, but your drug is still covered and you have a maximum out of pocket and you are in a small union. Do you see the hypocrite UFA Ansbro standing with the nurses fighting to keep their health care? Meanwhile, he, along with 101 unions, traded away his own retiree members. I'm sorry. I did see that. Yes, I did. Hopefully this year he supports you too. Okay. Seems like everyone's paying different prices. And that's because they all have different pharmacy benefit managers. Those drug dealers I told you about. And Shields, the old $44,000 cap on your old plan would mean that if you needed cancer or other expensive drugs, you could only go through $44,000. It's not in 1 year; it's actually in 1 month. It's 1 year, not 1 month. The new Part D plan is creditable coverage, and this is what people are hard to understand. They're so used to getting crap that they don't recognize that they just got something better. He never would have made the fire floor in 108. Many in emailing, calling him a sellout, never got a reply. I'm sorry to see that. He and I had quite a verbal disagreement a couple of years ago, and he told me that there were only, I don't know, there was like 20 retirees that were under $35,000 pensioners, and they would be happy to get whatever he gave them. I was really disgusted by that. There should be a budget line in the city's budget for my services. I told my board today, when this is over, we should go into the consulting business because we'd have our organization funded forever with the unions paying us to educate them. I know, it's absolutely crazy. Are folks aware of the New York State EPIC program for drugs? So yes, that's another great plan. If you look up your state EPIC program in New York State, I don't think other states have EPIC. I'm not really sure. I know New York does, but other states, all states have what they call a SHIP office. It's a state health insurance program line. Just be cautious what they tell you, because remember, back in the day, they were trying to tell us that the Medicare Advantage plan, Aetna got to them in New York and told them that the Aetna plan was the same as traditional Medicare. And we had to have a come to Jesus moment with them and show them the contract. And they finally realized they were being lied to. I already spent $1,600 and somehow now paying zero. My Mounjaro for diabetes was $831 for 3 months. So, and if you, I don't know what you paid before, but you're looking at not a lot of money monthly for per month for that medication. Okay. I take Vivigard injections for MG. My copay for this month was $2,100. The rest of the year, I'll have no copay. Yes, Steve, that's how this works. And I don't know if you're on I'm assuming Firehat, your FDNY, but your FDNY drug plan and your union offers you a Medicare Part D drug plan. They do have the Medicare $2,100 maximum out of pocket. It was covered. And then now the rest of the year, all of your drugs are free. Okay, that's how that works. I do believe the level of your patients is equal to a state. I don't know. You might see me be hot-headed one day. But I understand their frustration. What I meant is that Anne thought that her union's plan was, oh, yes. Right. I agree with you. Anne thought she had a $44,000 annual cap, and that was great. And that's not great, because the law says that it should be a minimum. If you're going to offer a creditable plan, it should be a minimum of $25,000 or more. Now, that plan was, however, it didn't cover all the other things that Medicare says it should be covered. This is the same debate I just had with the DEA today. And so that'll be part 2. But for right now, she's thinking that that's okay. Again, some cancer patient. Now, I'm an infusion patient every 30 days. My infusion is $44,000. Now, if I was in her union plan, I would have a problem, because my 1 month, I would max out for whatever my union would offer. If you guys remember, William Shenton was on. I don't know if he's on today. I think William's on today. William's wife had a very expensive medication. They had to leave the 237 drug plan to get a plan on the marketplace that covered her medication because of that. And all that is one diagnosis away to being out of pocket or in medical debt for the rest of your life, because your union has a cap on a drug maximum. This is what they don't understand, Ellen, and you and I both have had some health issues where we respect that. They think that that's, winner, winner, chicken dinner. It's not. They're literally being misled that they have a great plan, and they don't. Yes, UFA plan, rest of year, no more copays. Fantastic. I'm really glad to hear that, and that you're in that position, that you're being covered. We're seeing the more powerful impact of start charging retiree petition. As a UFT retiree, I felt bad facing a drug premium for both me and my husband's retirement, but I missed that I was being forced to purchase our drug plans at such a high rate. No less. Love spreading this awareness. Absolutely. And actually, let me see if I could, I must have closed all my windows today. Let me put this in the chat. Thank you for bringing that up, Laura. So there's a group of teachers and retirees that recognize that their union, the United Federation of Teachers, charging retirees a premium for the drug plan, right? So the union says, once you retire, we're no longer going to cover you. You have to purchase a drug plan from the city. And then we kept educating the retirees. Why are you purchasing the drug plan from the city? Purchase a drug plan from the marketplace. It's cheaper. They wouldn't even help us spread that word. I don't understand why there were these issues with the United Federation of Teachers, but we were doing more advocacy and education than they were for their own former members. So the teachers that UFT is like the largest union in the city, right? And they were not educating their retirees that once you retire, whether you're Medicare or pre-Medicare, they no longer cover you for a drug plan. You have to pay for one. So they are no longer giving you a drug plan. The drug plan from the city was $180 a month. On the marketplace, you can get a plan for $0 or $35 average a month. That would cover your medicines. So the retirees and these active teachers were like, this is crazy. Why wouldn't you explain this to us? Why you're sitting on over $1 billion in reserves in the welfare fund? Why don't you create a drug plan for the retirees? Here, they started a petition to advocate for just that. And so I just dropped the petition in the chat below. Feel free, please, to go and sign your name. Anyone can sign their name to that. You can identify as a UFT active, a UFT retiree, or just an ally or a retiree not UFT. You can show solidarity with your UFT retirees that are saying, this is crazy. Why are you not providing them? You're knowing that they're on a fixed income. Why would you make them pay for that? Let's see. Yep, I fully agree. The UFT Welfare Fund should be helping its retirees. I agree 100%, but they don't. So, Robert Anthony, what are the most popular drug plans on the marketplace? I really can't tell you that because it depends on your zip code and what medications you need. But when Medicare opens open enrollment, please go onto the Medicare.gov website, which won't be till next year. And it's the end of this year, like fall, October, November, they should open that up. And it closes like December 7th. And then you can search your zip code, put in your medications, and it will tell you what drug plans are available to you in your area and what the costs are. They have full transparency, which is phenomenal. But that's it. So it's just after 6. We've been at this for just over an hour. If you don't have any other questions, let me just quickly check Instagram because I haven't gone there in a minute. Let's say, listen to Mary and she researched. Thank you, Dana. Okay. So I'm not seeing too many other questions. I'm not seeing actually anything after that. Oops, wait a minute. Hold on. You're welcome. Your recent series on Substack, Debunking Unity's Anonymous Vlogger, is awesome. All the info we need is there. The Substack. Aw, thank you. Shame on Leroy Barr. I know. People don't know that Unity gave him a standing applause when he announced his retirement at our last delegate assembly is nauseating. He'll get a hefty double pension when he was fully aware and responsible for how MLC chose to rob from us municipal retirees. I heard about that. What's so crazy that all the smaller unions on MBF got together and offered one drug plan. You know what? I've been saying this for a long time, Ellen. They just won't. Thanks again. Hope 831 crew got information. And Stephen, so I'll be in the DSNY financial page at 7 o'clock to do that explainer to them and help them with the NYC EPPO plan. So if you're in their page, you'll see me in there as well. Any word from the mayor or council? Not yet. When are you meeting with Mom Donnie? I don't know. I'm kind of busy next week, so I'm hoping that in 2 weeks I can pick that back up. But next week I'm kind of busy. I will. I solved my issue. Wonderful. And also, so many of you guys that have written us about your plans, you've been getting phone calls back from Emblem helping you navigate the problem that you were having. If you're still not, if for some reason you didn't get a call and you still have that issue, please message us and we'll go back and look and see if you filled out that survey that you were having a problem, or just send it to us in an email and we will forward that to the proper place for you. But most everyone so far, it appears, has been having their concerns or their problems resolved. And it looks like we definitely helped them fix all of the things that they needed fixing. He's busy getting a bidet. That was the craziest story ever. Did you get my emails on the facility fee? Yes, we did. I think the first set. I haven't been there today, but I know Bob was. I will go back and check later. How's your doggy feeling? So Jules is doing better. She's still down here. So I'm talking about you. And she goes on Monday to go and have her sutures checked and her gums checked because they pulled out all those teeth. But she's definitely been feeling better. Thank you for asking. I'm a former DSNY employee, and I have a sweet spot for Sandman. Thanks for helping out, DSNY. You're welcome. You're welcome, Ellen. And you're welcome, Annie. All right. So, guys, I'm going to call it a night. You guys have a great weekend. Stay warm because the weather's going to be pretty crazy. Our storm is coming here tomorrow. And so I don't know if I'll have power or not have power, which is why I want to try to do this tonight. And I know the Sandman guys were going to be pretty busy with all of the snow and ice. So this would be a great opportunity to do their event tonight. So I'm looking forward to doing that. You guys have a great weekend. Stay warm. Remember, March 24th. We are going to our lobby day, so be prepared to be there. We will be putting up a sign-up sheet probably tomorrow morning because I'm getting tired already. I will put that sign up. Please schedule yourselves to be with us all day. Remember, like 7 to 7, you guys are with us, or 7:30 to 7:30. We are leaving City Hall at 8 o'clock in the morning to get up there for noon, and then we will spend all day. Lunch and dinner's on us. We are booking the bus, and we were going up, and same like we did last time. So you guys enjoy yourself. Have a great weekend. Stay warm, and I'll talk to you. Well, you'll see me on the air on Monday. I'll see you then. Ciao.
Don't speak what you don't understand. The truth is not in your command. Don't shout about what you think is fake. The decision isn't yours to make.